A lot has changed over the past century. Let's look back through the decades to see how far we've come throughout the years. Starting in the 1920s with the world-changing move to the electric home. Luxury items were all the rage, from toasters, waffle irons, and coffee percolators to plug-in radios, electric irons, and ironing machines. Convenience was the new name of the game. Interestingly, most kitchens still had an icebox, as refrigerators did not become common until after the Second World War. Minimum Red Seal requirements were introduced in 1923 to enhance residential electrical safety. The seal was placed directly on a switch box when it met these new standards. The electric range was made popular in the 1930s, replacing solid fuel stoves that burned wood or coal. They required much less labor to operate and maintain. Celebrations got even brighter as novelty lighting started to make an appearance. Festive lights spread more than just holiday cheer. They also increased sales at a critical time during the Great Depression. The 1940s brought about the invention of metal conduit wiring, which allowed individual conducting wires to be pulled in the same rigid metal tube enclosure. This conduit itself is considered a viable grounding method, and the system can allow another separate grounding wire to be pulled through the conduit. After the Second World War, increasing wages and lower appliance prices made refrigerators an affordable option that became standard equipment in most Canadian kitchens. By 1960, 90% of homes had one. Electric washing machines were also on the rise. Many featured a power wringer, although built-in spin dryers were also available. With more electrical devices becoming common, surge protectors were a valuable invention in the 1950s that protected against voltage spikes in AC circuits. Initial versions used selenium rectifiers and later switched to carbon piles. Dimmers were also introduced for domestic use around this time. They were made small enough to fit in a home wall box and were considered to be an effective energy-saving tool. Televisions could be found in the average family home. In '51, the first live coast-to-coast telecast brought the nation together in all its black and white splendor. The '60s heated things up with the introduction of electric heating. Electricity was seen as a source of clean, economical heat at that time. By '68, installations of electric space heating in new homes and the conversion to electric heating from other forms of heating brought the total of electrically heated single dwellings in Ontario to approximately 50,000. Electric clothes dryers saw a boost in popularity in the '50s. However, it wasn't until the following decade that they really came into their own as a staple in many houses. Aluminum wiring could also be found in houses built in the mid-60s to late '70s. Ground fault circuit interrupters, also known as GFCIs, were invented in the '60s and were found in kitchens and bathrooms designed to quickly break an electrical circuit to prevent serious harm from an ongoing electric shock. In the early '70s, most North American GFCI devices were of the circuit breaker variety, installed into a distribution panel. Fault trips were frequent when insulation issues were compounded by long circuit links and could be set off by the slightest increase of current imbalance. Dishwashers became commonplace in the '70s, though earlier versions go back as far as 1886. Countertop microwaves were introduced in '67, but became more affordable for residential use throughout the late '70s. Television broadcast stations and networks upgraded from black and white to color transmissions throughout the '70s, making color TV a hot ticket item. In the 1980s, the standard for GFCIs changed, and they were now being built into the outlet receptacle. This reduced those pesky accidental trips, a very welcome change. Home computers entered the market in 1977 and became more common as the '80s progressed. The first automatic answering machine was created, with a new model coming out almost every year throughout the decade. The '80s also saw the use of computer networks expand to include a range of civilian agencies, creating the first stage of the almighty Internet. Energy-efficient electrical products were on the rise during this time. The Ontario Electrical League addressed the Provincial Energy Conservation Initiative in a statement supporting the use of efficient and effective electrical products, stating, "We believe that the future lies in the hands of those who can harness electrical power and use it efficiently. Those that do will prove to be the leaders in manufacturing, in technology, and in the creation of jobs in the 1990s and into the 21st century." Tech cable was introduced in the 80s and 90s, typically used residentially in metal studs in basements. This low-voltage armored cable was named for the location where it was first developed and used, Tech Township, now known as Kirkland Lake, Ontario. The mining operations, such as those conducted by Tech Hughes Gold Mining Limited, required a durable cable to power equipment and withstand the demanding conditions. Tech cable was the engineering result. A very versatile power cable because of its resistance to water, petrochemicals, and sunlight. It made working with rigid conduit a thing of the past. The turn of the century brought with it the invention of the flat-screen TV. Inventors Bitzer and Slatow enhanced how we watched our favorite shows by sealing an inert gas between two glass panels. The inside of the top outer-facing panel was coated with phosphor. Passing electricity through the gas could excite the phosphor in a controlled manner to produce a picture. Televisions continued to get bigger and slimmer as the years rolled on. Thank you, Bitzer and Slatow, for getting the ball rolling. Technology continues to grow and develop at an astounding rate to assist us in our everyday lives, making our day-to-day brighter, easier, and let's face it, more fun. Here's to another 100 years of amazing electrical invention and innovation. The best is still yet to come, and as we've just seen, that's saying a lot.